Okay, so now we have row 3 done, and now we're going to begin the 4th row. And as you can see, we put 3 on. Now we're going to put 2 11-0s on because we're decreasing like we were. So pick up 2 11-0s, skip the first bridge, go into the second bridge, and put on your 2 11-0s. Go back up into the last bead like you would. We're securing this first bead, so go down into that first bead, bring your thread around, and go back up into this bead, so you're exiting in the place you need to be to put on another bead. So pull this really nice and tight, so that is good and secured like so. Okay, so now we've got our 3 8-0s on. Now we're going to put 4. So pick up 1 8-0, go into the next bridge, and back up through this last bead. Pick up another 8-0 into the next bridge, and back up into the bead. I'm always pulling extra tight on these beads so I can get them so they're not all floppy and sideways and messed up. So you want to keep your threads pulled nice and tight. Pick up another one into the next thread bridge and back up and pull nice and tight. So now we're at the point where we can only add 2 11-0s. So I'll pick up 1 11-0, drop down, go into that first thread bridge, and back up into your 11-0, pulling that nice and tight in place. Pick up 11-0 into the next thread bridge, and ouch, wow, this needle is very sharp in this point here on the eye of it. Okay, and there you go. So as you can see, if you try to put this straight, it's going to be all, see it? You can't, but it will come together. So continue doing this, putting 4 2 11s, 4 8-0s, 2 11s, 4 8-0s, and do that right to the end, and I'll come back and show you the final row of increasing the white, or the 8-0s, and decreasing these, because now we're going to increase and decrease. We're just going to switch it up. I'll be back. Okay, so now we're at our last round of decreasing, and for this last round you still have to pick up 2 beads here. You're going to pick up, because now you're only going to add 1 bead, you've done your 5 4 3 2, you're going to pick up 1 11-0 and 1 8-0 on your needle. You're going to skip the first thread bridge and go into the second thread bridge, and this is the last time you're going to do it this way. So you're going to go back up into the 8-0, down into the 11-0, and back up into the 8-0 and secure your 2 beads like so. Okay, so it should be looking like that. And now you're going to continue on putting your last row of decreasing the 11-0s and increasing your 8-0s. So you're just going to go along here and continue doing this, putting 5 8-0s and 1 11-0. So it's going to be originally exactly what you started with in reverse. You started with with 5 11-0s and 1 8-0. And this round here you're going to end up with 5 8-0s and 1 11-0. And then we will start increasing the 11-0s again and decreasing the 8-0s. So I've put on my 5 beads here, my 5 8/0s. Now I'm going to pick up an 11/0, and I'm going to go between the next 2, which is the next bridge, and place this 11/0 nice and tightly in there. Okay, so continue doing this for this round, and I will come back and show you how to increase your black, or increase your 11 and decrease the 8/0s. And then your bracelet will be done, and it'll look like this when it's all finished. Nice and puffy and really stiff. Beautiful. Okay, be back. Okay, so we've completed this last row of increasing 8/0s and decreasing our 11/0s. So now we're going to slowly, each row, increase the 11/0s and decrease these. So the first thing you're going to pick up, and now this first stitch you take is going to be different than what you've been doing previously. So pick up 2 11/0s. Do not skip the first thread bridge. Go under that first thread bridge like that. Do not skip that one. Okay, and now you're just going to reinforce, stable this first bead by going through them and back up into your beads, and pull this nice and tight. Okay, so now you're going to start increasing as you go up, back up, exactly like this. So now you're going to pick up an 8/0, and you're going to put 4 of your 8/0s on, and you're going to do this all the way across now, adding 4 8/0s and 2 11/0s between your 8/0s. And make sure you keep pulling your work very tight. Like that. Okay. And now we're going to decrease or increase our 11/0s. So pick up 1 11/0, go under the next thread bridge, pull that one in, and go back up. Now pull this nice and tight. Now you're going to see it's going to start gapping here between these because they're smaller bead. So you need to squish your work together like this and pull that nice and tight in there. And this is how you're going to get the pillowing effect. So keep that pulled tight under your finger, and go under the next thread bridge with your next 11/0, and go back up and keep it pulled tight. Okay, so there's no big huge gap in between these beads, and you will see what I mean when you're doing this, that you're going to get a gap if you do not squish them together and pull tight. So I'm going to put on an 8/0 now, and I'm going to put on 4 of them. And I'm going to keep pulling my work super, super tight. Like that. It's going to start buckling here, and you want it to buckle. So do that all the way till you get to the end, and when you get to the end, I'm going to show you what to do. So don't put your last bead on in this last thread bridge. I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so now we're going to put our last 2 beads on. We've put on the last 4 white, and you only have 1 thread path bridge here left. So now you're going to pick up your 11/0. You're going to go under that thread bridge, your last one, and go through it the same way you would normally, pulling nice and tight. And you're going to pick up another 11/0, and you're going to go back under that same thread bridge you just went in to put that one on. So you're actually putting 2 beads in 1 thread bridge. And pull. And now you have your last 2 beads on. And as you notice, your bracelet's kind of wonky. Now you're going to turn your work around, and we're going to add 3 11/0s. So let's pick up 2 to start with. And see the first thread bridge? Right there. Go through the first thread bridge with your 2 11/0s, because we're still increasing in each row. Okay? Pull that tight. Now you're going to go and secure this first bead. So go back down it and back up your second bead. And pull this nice and tight. So there's our 2 put on. Here's our third one. So you're going to go into the next thread bridge, and you're going to add your third bead, pulling it nice and tight. And you're going to kind of want to start cupping your work as you go. So I kind of did it on the last row, and I'm going to continue doing it on this row in order to keep the beads in the thread bridges nice and close. So pull that tight. Go into the next one, put 3 8/0s on, keeping it cupped. And through there. And now you're going to do the same thing with the 11/0s, kind of cup it like this with your 11/0s. Okay? And you're going to go in your thread bridge, pull it nice and tight, and secure that one in. Do that again. So you're going to put 3 11/0s on now in between all the, this is actually the row with 3 3 3. There's 2. And pull it nice and tight. And there's 3. Okay, so you can see this is starting to take the pillow shape. So you're going to cup this one as well now, and you're going to add 3 more through your thread bridge. Back up, nice and tight. 1, there's 2, trying to pillow or cup them, but sometimes it's a little hard to work. Oopsies, almost missed a thread bridge. Almost, but didn't. Now those are nice and tight, so take your 11/0s and do the same thing. And just do this all the way down until you get to the last bead. You're going to add 2 beads, one at a time, in your very last stitch. So pull this nice and tight to keep there's no gaps in between your 8/0s. See, I've got no gaps, and you don't want any gaps either. And if you don't follow along in this way, you're probably going to have gaps everywhere, and you really don't want gaps. So that's it. Continue this, and you can see it's starting to straighten out. It's not so curvy, you're able to straighten it out, but you're starting to get your puffy pillow look. Just keep cupping them, and make sure all of your puffs go the same way. You know, you got to kind of play with it here. Like so. Okay, and I will come back and show you how to do the next round. So remember, when you get to the end in your last thread bridge, you're going to add 2 beads in that thread bridge one at a time, the same as you did previously, and I'll be back. Okay, we've completed that row now, and as you can see, it's starting to really puff up. The little diamonds, they're starting to get puffy, and it's starting to straighten out again, and it will eventually when we get our last row on. So we are on our second last row, and this is where we're going to add right here at the beginning, we're going to add 2 11/0s. So pick up 2 11/0s and go into the first bridge, thread bridge, and secure your 11/0. Again, go back up through this one, pulling tight, and back down through the first bead. And now back up through there, and straighten this bead out. Pull this nice and tight. Okay, so now you're kind of getting a V shape in there. All right. Now we want to add, we want to keep this puffy. We still have to add 2 more 11/0, so go into the next thread bridge. And as you can see, I had to add on thread. Pulling nice and tight. And one more. So now we have our, oops, 1, 2, this one here. Sometimes it's a little difficult to see thread path or the thread bridge, and pull nice and tight. Okay, this is where this is going to pull this even tighter, so add your 2 8/0s, puckering it. I'm going to just fold it like that. Well, I was going to. Alright. Make sure all your puffs are going in the same side. Right now I'm at the back of the bracelet. So I'm pulling this nice and tight here. And I'm only adding 2 8/0s in here. Pulling it tight. Very tight. And now we want to add our 11/0s, so we need 4 of them. Pick up 1, go under your thread bridge. You got to manipulate them a little bit. Ouch. Whoa. Go under that one. Kind of give it a bend and pull it nice and tight so it stays tight. Go under the thread bridge. Pull it up. And tight. So there. Now you're going to add 4 11/0s and 2 8/0s. When you get to the end of this row, you're going to add your 2 11/0s in that last stitch. Okay, so I'll come back when we're finished this round, and then we'll do the last round and sew our toggle on. Okay, and I'll be back. Okay, guess what? Final row. So for this row, now we're going back to what we originally started in our first row, where we had 5 11/0s and 1 8/0, and that's what you're going to do in this round now. Just get some beads out of the way here. Okay, pull that nice and tight there, and now you're going to pick up your 2 11/0s, go into your first thread bridge, and add your 2 11/0s. And then you're going to secure these in place. Pulling that tight the row before. Kind of pulled it loose. Okay. Oh man, I always get knots no matter what I do. I get them. Okay, now back up into this one and pull it nice and tight. Okay, add an 11/0 next to thread bridge, go back up, tight, and 11/0 next thread bridge, like I said, it's all I get are a ton of knots. That is 4 beads on, and one more 11/0 and in there. Okay, now we're going to add 1/8 into the next thread bridge. I'm still cupping it. Pulling it nice and tight in there. Okay. Pick up an 11/0 into the next thread bridge and back up. Pulling it nice and tight. 1, 2, there's 3, 4, nice and tight. 3, 4. I just want to get this one done so I can show you how it's poofy. 4 and our 5th one. Alright, let's have a look. So there's one diamond complete, and it's poofy like a pillow. And if you want, you can just manipulate them and push them out so they look really good. As you can see, your bracelet's almost completely straight again. This last row will make it perfectly even all the way across. So I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to finish this last row, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to sew on your toggle, and then you can sew your toggle on the other end as long as you left a nice long thread here, like I said, to do good 12 inches there. Okay, I'm going off camera. I'll be back and I'll show you this. Ta-da! Look at this. All done. Is this not beautiful? Nice puffy pillows. Okay, let's get straight away here and sew the closure on. So what you're going to do is pick up 6 8/0s. On your needle. First of all, make sure you're exiting out of your last bead outward, not towards your beadwork. Then you're just going to come around and go through the end bead on this side, like so. Then you're just going to put your needle and go through all 6 of your beads again, and then go back in this bead towards your closure, and you're just going to reinforce this. So go back into the 6 beads. So I'm just going through it a few times so I can make it good and strong and tough. And through it one more time. One more time. Alright, it's good and strong. And now you're going to exit your needle through 4 of the beads, the first 4, like so. Okay, we've got a wee bit of a knot here. Yes, we do. There we go. Okay, so now you're exiting out of your 4th bead. You're going to pick up 2 of one color of your 11-0s and an 8-0, and you're going to pick up one piece of your wire protector and go through one end of it in the bottom, and then you're going to connect this to your toggle, so you might have to open it a little bit. Get it in there and close this. Give it a little pinch. So now you need to exit through your toggle hole and back down the other side of your closure, your wire protector, and make sure it's caught in the groove, because this one is not. There we go. And then you're going to go down through the 8-0. Okay. Then you're going to pick up 2 more of your 11-0s, and then you're going to, then you're going to go back through 2 beads.
Okay.
So there's 2 here, 2 on this side, and 2 in the middle. So you're going to go through the 2 middle beads by just making a circle and adding your closure in there. Making sure this is still caught in your wire protector. Okay, and then you're just going to go through all these beads and reinforce it. So I'm going to go through the 2 11-0s, the 8-0, the wire protector. I'm going to pull this tight through the toggle, back down the other side of the wire protector, through the 8-0 and through these 2 11-0s. And make sure it's caught in the groove. And it is. And then through these 2 beads again. It's really simple and easy. So now you want to give this a good tight pull. Seems like this is not tightening up for some reason. There we go. And I'm going to go through it one more time. So through the 2, the wire protector, the toggle, back down the other side, through the 8-0. Sorry, the bird just flew off his cage. I'll be right back. Okay, and now back down through these 2 11-0s. And then it should be good and reinforced. Nice and tight. And then through these 2, these 3, and now you're just going to go along and tie some half-hitch knots. Okay? So I'm just going to go through this bead here on the end, and I'm going to go back through the 6 that I put on, tying half-hitch knots. So I'm going to tie a surgeon's knot here, so twice into the loop, like so. Tight. Go through 2 beads. Pull the knot inside. Yeah, let's see here. clear that up. There we go, shortened my thread. So now you're just going to go and do the same thing, wrap your needle around those two there. Make sure they stay in between those two and through the loop, pulling it tight, and through these two, and some more knots here, twice in the whole loop, and then I'm just going to run my needle through some beads. I think we have a sufficient amount of knots. So I'm just going to go through these ones on the end here. I think I'll just tie one more knot for good luck. And this time I'll only go once around. And then through some more beads. And through another bead. Alright, now we can cut this off. And there's one side of your toggle done. Now you're going to thread your needle and you're going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to go off camera, finish this, and I will come back, okay? Show you what to do, or show you the bracelet when it's all finished. I'll be back. Okay, so I've completed putting my toggle on my black and white bracelet. As you can see, it's completed. And that's it for this tutorial. Sometimes you might have to give it a little tug just to get it to flatten straight out like this. This one's laying here like this, no problem. And like I said, I made these too big. But I made this too big on purpose because I wanted to do it up in this little hole here. So I have my heart toggle hanging down. So let me just do this up quick so you can see it. So there, it's done up in that loop. And now I have the heart hanging down as a dangle. It is such a pretty bracelet. So cute. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and you liked me on, you liked the tutorial, and thanks for watching. I'll see you all soon on the next tutorial. Bye-bye. Have a great week, everyone.